Alright, I've started a little project with the ball. I gave it texture, and I made a platform with the texture, and I was messing with how the ball moved. I don't even have a specific stage picked out to try to make. Right now I'm just using a movable sphere and putting the speed. So right now it's constant. Let's see. Because I think I tried acceleration, but I think the main problem is that it can just keep increasing. And it's just ridiculously fast. Unbelievably fast. That's more reasonable. Slowing it down is then just as hard as speeding it up. That might be fine. Eye patch. You have the camera so you can control it. I tried for a bit making the camera automatically go behind the ball. I mean, the camera is automatically behind the ball right now, but based on its speed, which direction it was going, and like trying to compute an angle and rotating it around, I didn't like how that was going. So, could look at making a goal. Now, the thing is, a goal needs to be like a doorway. In Monkey Ball, it's like this round thing. I guess it's got a ball and it's a gate. I need a picture. Absolutely need a picture. It's got like a ribbon. That's a good picture. So, I don't think round is gonna work. I don't think round is gonna happen. Because I can't make something that's like round and hollow. I can make round and not solid, I guess. That's possible. So maybe I look at trying to make a goal. Let me be hard to like get this stuff out of the way. Boxes also. Do I have a world? I'm gonna end up getting rid of everything else. No world. Light seems fine. Hoop? I mean, you can definitely go through that at least. Oh, I forgot I put that there. Wow, that actually kind of looks good, just like that. Right. I guess I'll go ahead and get some basic fall off the world thing as well. The movement seems okay. I mean, where to put stuff is always a thing. Go down some amount. On Y. And restart the game in something else. Transition effect. Oh, can I have it like fade out? Hmm. Interesting. Make this a little lower. A little sooner. Keep everything above 0. Now what about, like, Fallout text? These are the important things you gotta really think about. Unfortunately, that's not going to be like that's it as far as outlines or anything. Hard to say which direction. This feels like the right one. Visible. It's going to need to be based on the camera. How about size? Color of the box. Maybe blue will fit in with the background. A little bit. Now the question is... It needs to only show up when you're falling out, which I hate. So, I can't give this a position. Oh, and you can rotate the camera. So I want it to be in front of the camera. Wherever the camera is. The camera has an angle, too. Wow. Making text appear. How am I going to do a timer, though? I have to figure out how to get something on the screen at a certain position, no matter what. Let's just make sure I can sense where the camera is. Can I even sense where the camera is? I can't sense where the camera is. Can I sense what angle the camera is? Without going this direction. Wow, okay, I didn't realize what I was getting into with putting words on the screen. I played with these for a little bit. So for me to get the numbers of where the stuff is, I would have to be computing the numbers of where the stuff is to send into those and then use those numbers. So, yuck. I do want a timer. That's important to me. Maybe I have to solve this problem. Well, did you have a rotating camera, Corey? If you did, I might go look. Yeah. If it's fixed, then I know what to do. Right. So you could just hook the positions of the stuff on the screen to the position of the camera. Right now, I don't know what the position of the camera is. Hi, Mr. Fish. That's only how it rotates around, but I have no idea where it is. Alright, let me think about these other ones. Yeah. I both like that the game autosaves and hate that it autosaves if I change my mind, but I didn't have much there before. So let me just look at all of these. I tried these, but I didn't like what was going on. That's fixed. I don't think that... I think when I looked, I didn't think this one was very useful. Picture will be more zoomed in or zoomed out. So, I guess, is 90 a default? Camera position, camera... Which of these was target? Okay, you're the camera target. I don't know if the tracking rate matters. No, it didn't have any output. None of these do. Camera will point toward this node on its position. If it receives any input, you can shift the camera position. So, I mean, this part was the straightforward part. We hook that, and then the camera will point toward it all the time. Gotta turn that location sensor off. So, I love how shapes arise out of the ground if they're in the ground. What's that, Z? I think it's its Y height. Yeah. If you're thinking about it, you probably should. And it's not bad priced either. Alright, so camera position. So then I have to go back to calculating where the camera is. So I want the camera. So yeah, there's no way to package the games to sell. Plus, with what you can make with it, I would imagine there's much better tools, but it's good depending on what you're wanting to do with it. Right, I'm gonna grab where the ball is to make it kind of global. I never want to do that. I never, ever, except when I want to do that, Yeah, it's unfortunately when you get to trying to do something complicated, I start getting frustrated wanting more control. More often than I thought I would. Alright, so we're throwing some... I just think of these as global variables. That's just the only thing that makes any sense. Okay, so we got where the ball is. And then I can get where the ball is moving toward. Yeah, you can use touch and motion. It's really good with the inputs. So we got where it is, where it's going to. Now I have to draw pictures. If I am going to make this work. So, and you're not going to be able to see it because I'm actually using paper. So the ball is somewhere. It's got a velocity vector going to some target location it's moving toward. I probably don't care about Y in this, only X and Z. So like overhead view kind of thing. Like you're looking at on the screen. There's X and Z. If it's falling, I don't want the camera to go up and down on it. So if it's moving in a certain direction, I want the ball. I want the camera to be behind the ball, going toward it the other way, and probably the distance behind the ball to be fixed. So that makes a circle around the ball. So I need the angle from using X and Z, and then I want to add 180 degrees to that. Something like that. So let's see what I can do with that. There's this position to angle thing. Angle difference? How would that just be not subtraction? I guess it handles wrapping around the 360 for you. Marble Madness and Super Monkey Ball, physics-wise, I would say there's not great difference. Other than that, Marble Madness does not use accurate physics in any realm of reality. That's horizontal. This is vertical. Camera angle's fixed in Marble Madness. So this gives me an angle which should be from the 0. I mean, your goal is the same, yeah. And when you fall off in Monkey Ball, you fully restart, not respawn. Doing a respawn in place would be very difficult in this game. But I can envision making a checkpoint system and something. So, what do I get out of here? This should be... I still don't know how it measures angles, but I guess it doesn't matter. So, I would think from the x-axis here, it would be the angle around this way. That's what it would be in math, but I keep thinking it goes this way, just to piss people off and be inconsistent. Because every time I get the wrong number when I think about it myself. But whatever that is, and if it's wrong, I'll adjust it. Then I want it to go 180 degrees around the other side. That may just be adding. I don't know if I have to care about going around. I love how this is a useless node-on too. I didn't play Marble Madness much. I liked it in concept, for sure, but played tons of Monkey Ball. For GameCube? Oh. Yeah, I guess some cabinet. I haven't seen a Monkey Ball cabinet with a trackball. I've only seen a banana. So that gives me an angle. And now I want to see what this does. The 2 angle inputs into this and it'll show the difference between them. No, I want to increase it. My only worry is if I give it like a number like 380, what's it gonna do? So I want to take this angle, and now I need the actual position of the camera out of it. Kirby had a ball maze? Kirby had a ball maze? Okay, so this gives me out X and Y, hopefully. I've flipped it around. Now, I'm assuming from this, these are gonna be like a unit circle. Yeah, I don't think I played Tilt and Tumble. Hopefully this is on a unit circle. So then I can have a constant for how far away the camera is. Let's say 8. Multiply that unit circle angle, make it a unit 8 circle. And then that should give me the distance x and z I want related to the ball. So then that's camera position there, right? So now I can take the positions of the ball. Yeah, the joysticks. They worked really well with that. GameCube joysticks were phenomenal. So it should be on the ball, moved by this amount. Those will add together on X and Z. X is multiply. X and Z are the directions. This is just multiplication. Hi, Mikey. So let's see what I've done. I think I remember something like... Because I tried this. Okay, so it's like 90 degrees off for one. I keep wanting to move the camera with the stick, but it's also like zooming in and out, which is maddening. I probably need some numbers to see what the output is at different spots for one. I'm gonna make that 0 for no reason at all. I want the position of the camera to not matter based off its speed. And I guess the interesting thing is, if it's not moving at all, what am I going to get? So I feel like I'm going to get some calculation to get where I want the camera to be, and then it has to swing over to it. Well, let's just see what's happening with what I'm doing. So I want to show my target camera position. Hopefully I'll see it. Who knows? If it'll even be on the right side. I trust Y. I bet that one works. Whee! Y is height, and Z is depth, yeah. This is bothering me. This thing that maybe will ever show up or not. Okay. Is there any way to just output on every side? It's driving me nuts. Like, I know I saw a number at some point. I can't get it to rotate around the ball. freaking direction even is that? And I'm looking at X minus? That's what I thought I put it on. No, I really wish there was. I have to, there's no concept of that at all. All you can do is put things in 3D space. And the camera points to things in 3D space. So, it's gotta face the camera and everything like that. So in order for me to do that, I have to know where the camera is. So in order for me to know where the camera is, I have to tell the camera where to be. That's where I am. I was satisfied with the camera. Well, yes, but there's a fixed camera in those. So you just put them on the screen and you know that they're going to be visible. Here I don't have that luxury. So I got to get my camera to even work first. So this stuff I probably should not hook to an actual camera yet. I don't need the camera controls to do my math. Okay. So I'll see it now. Can I not freaking steer it? So the stick control is related to where the camera is, funny enough. So now I need the other camera. or maybe I'll still use these. I don't know. Point at that. Which way? I had something like that going on. Now this is Z minus if I want to see it. Which one is X and which one is Y? Location sensor? Speed sensor? That's the one. Get down here. Bottom one is X. That's going to confuse me. X comma the left to right is first. So when it's moving to the right, it's positive. When I'm moving to the left, it's negative. That's what I want. If I go straight up and down, that should be 0 on the left box, and then I get 8 and negative 8. Oh, this camera's gonna make you sick if you do this motion. They, Super Monkey Ball always made the camera, like, not always in the direction you're moving, probably because this would make you sick. Then it's, unfortunately, like the distance, I wouldn't feel good about that staying in sync. Then if I go at an angle, they both should be about equally Positive or negative? Like, that seems very believable that I'm getting the numbers I expect. This would be negative on the first one, positive on the second one, when I'm going up and left. And it's out of 8, because I multiplied it by 8. That was my doing. That all seems right. Now, the speed sensor should be relative to the world, not the freaking camera, right? Camera reference world, that's what I want. The actual... This multiply is to get it to go to scale to 8 instead of scaling to 1. I am looking forward to it too. I hope they do something to it besides just the other games. I mean, I guess I don't know what I should wish for because I don't want them to ruin it either. I'm looking forward to it though. Like, they shouldn't change the actual games, but I hope there's something in there. So then, if the numbers are what I expect them to be, then that just means I'm not using the camera right. But my math is right. So, no matter what, point the camera at the ball. Oh yeah, if you haven't played the classics, it's... I mean, I think that's an everybody kind of game, to me. I guess if you have to like arcade-style gameplay, I guess, first. I do want it... Well, no. Because it's always a distance 8. So, what I'm computing here is the offset from the ball. So the distance is always a distance 8 from the ball, moved at an angle. And the numbers look like what I expect it to be. Now, does this matter where it's attached to or anything? Place this node on to set the position from which the player views the action. If it receives an input, you can shift the camera's position. Okay, so I want the camera to be on the ball. I don't need these then. Or at least I'll just move them. But then offset by this X, this Z, and I do want it to be a little above it. I set it to 1 and it was pretty good, so 1.5. Oh, that's probably what it's supposed to be doing. I don't know about that. What? Why is it doing that? Why on earth is it doing that? Is this offset? Like, is my Y offset not just a fixed number? Is it like a speed? What is it doing? Let me disconnect these. So it's on the ball. So my whole thing linked to its speed is off right now. In fact, let me just keep the whole thing off. So its position is in the ball right now. That makes total sense. And it's pointed toward the ball, so it doesn't have to point to any angle. So if it's above the ball, now it's going to point toward below the ball. And I have no idea why it's doing that. I seem to always have some problem with some assumption of how it works, of how the nodon's going to work. Because what is this? This should be, it's always 1.5 meters above the ball. This is like the simplest thing. Locked to a face of the ball. Now that's interesting. I think it definitely is acting like that. It's like it's always looking at this side of the ball. Huh. Why would it always be looking at this point of the ball? Is there a frame of reference thing? Horizontal tracking rate. Don't. Please don't. Don't do that. The connection point? That's a good question. Center to center. Point toward the center of it. Point toward the blue line is the connection, connecting the nodons together. Now I had the rotating problem when they weren't connected. So when they're not connected, it's where I placed it in the world. It's way out there and where I'm drawing my calculations. Now if I just remove my constant again. Now this should be the same as hooking it to the ball. It should be... Huh? XYZ. XYZ. Does this have a frame of reference? Well, it's not going to be as good as that, Kevin. Doing something yourself is also much more satisfying than not. Initial position. Initial position's interesting, but camera. Distance from the ball's distance from the camera. But world is what I want. Just to see what I can do, you know? What, Zelda 2? That's a weird statement, not related to the first statement. But I have never played it, so it's one of those I should play someday. So what is this doing? So I told the camera it's supposed to point to the ball, and I'm telling its position to be where the ball is. I don't want a tracking rate. Or set it to 1, just for the sake of seeing something different. Wait. Oh. Well, that makes sense. So I think it's the camera position is still physically here, plus these numbers. But if I do hook it, then it should... I want it to start at 0, 0 then. Okay, I gotta find 0, 0 and put a tracker origin object. Like I've done in, I don't know, everything else I've done. Where's frigging 0? Because I can't really tell. Where is it? I mean, it better be here. I mean, I can enter the numbers anyway. It's apparently the number 0 is just too difficult. Now, I think this one. Like, please let me find my other stuff. Wait, where's camera? Oh my. It still feels like it's going around the ball. Oh wait, what? What did I tell it to do? I told it to be on the ball. I guess the question is the Z changing? Is the Y changing of the ball? Center to center. I want the center of the ball. Sensor shape shouldn't matter, but whatever. The size shouldn't matter. Well, that depends. If frame of reference is world, that's how I've got it in my brain. X, Y, and Z being the distance from the origin of the entire of the world. So over here is like X equals whatever that distance is, and Y and Z 0 is here. So like the ball is some distance Y from the 0 line, matching the origin, and some distance X. So what did I change? So I don't know why it's rotating around. I guess I want to know what Y numbers I'm dealing with. But it is going with the ball. Yeah, I have to say where the camera is and where it's pointing. The pointing is easy because it says the target is something. Are you talking about the switch system, Kyle? I didn't even know it updated or what. Things seem fine. That's all I can say. So I feel like that's working. I want to know the Y position of the ball. So right now, before the game runs, it's 0.4, which is strange. I want my frame of reference for motion. I don't want to mess with the motion. This connection point shouldn't matter. I'm just gonna set it anyway. I don't trust it. This connection point is what matters. So that will actually put this thing physically on that in the middle, because I said center. Positions are where the center of the object is, and size extends from the center. Which was a little weird to get used to. Can I see that? I'm not going to be able to see the number without ruining my camera. That is ruined right now. But I can't put the other camera on without deleting these cameras, which I just freaking hate. Otherwise, I got to figure out some math to point to the stupid camera. To point to my box. Okay. Normal camera. Here, point that way. Um, it's attached to it, and then it's behind it. So the Y is 0.5. A bad version, and those who updated the first time have the issue. Oh, but they kept the same number instead of making it 12.04. So if something's on the first 1203, then it doesn't realize there's an update to fix the update. That's interesting. They gotta make it 12.031. So it does go down. So it's 0.5. What do we got here? Once it lands on the ground, then it should be at the height of this, which is this plus this, which is 0.25 plus the height, half of the height of this, which is 0.25, which makes 0.5. So 0.5 is the number I expect this to be. So that is good in terms of every number I'm trying to send somewhere being what I think the right number is supposed to be. But now what's... Oh, why does that not interact with these things? Yeah. And I gotta change all this stuff just to debug. Point at the ball. Live, I guess, for right now. I love how it just has to connect to something, even when I'm nowhere near it. Trying to not do it. It's over there. Oh no, it's complicated because, I mean, it's clearly complicated enough that I haven't figured it out yet, so you shouldn't feel bad at all. So that much works right. It's in a fixed position now. So if I put it on 0, 0, then it's over there at 0, 0, where that looks like it lives, and it's pointing directly toward the ball. That makes sense. And then if I use where the ball is, like let's just say X, it moved the camera over to where the ball is. And if I move the ball different in X, then it followed it. Same with Z, but now it's, well, it's over the ball. So this puts the camera in the ball. And it's trying to point toward the ball, which I don't really understand why it's turning, but that's fine. I mean, I got a different game here. This is a game I remember called Spectre. It was like a Super Nintendo tank game. I don't think I ever freaking even played it. I just remember about it. It's like a slow-moving tank game. So that much is right. I want to raise it a little higher. So that much. Whoa. Okay, so it's where I think it should be, but I can't control the ball. So now I want to take my X and Z offsets and put that on there, which should be based on where it's moving. Okay, so if you see what direction it's moving, the camera is always where it's moving. So the ball always is going toward the camera. So I can only actually make it go toward the camera without moving the camera. But that's what I expect that to do. Now what did I want? I had a thought and I lost it. So it's not rotated by 180 right now. I'm gonna take that. 180 and negative 180 should be the same. Now it's always behind the ball. The ball is always only ever moving forward. Why does this work now? I swear to God, this is what I tried to set up before. The same way, but I don't really care. Yeah, I could have multiplied the x's and the z's by -1. That would have worked just as good, actually. So I guess what's interesting with that is I could remove some of these nodons. I kind of like that idea. So I could just multiply by -8. I am curious enough to see if that will be the same. So I'm just going to leave most of it in case I change my mind. Wait, I don't think I can quite do that. Because part of what this does is it puts it on a unit circle. Yeah. Hard to describe. If it's not moving and if it's moving really fast, I'm going to get way different numbers. And this removes that. Go back. It works. Don't blow it up. So this is what I was trying to do, but now is it a good camera? I think the answer is no. I feel like the camera should be swaying instead of being fixed at that target place I was trying to put it at. So if you like quickly switch directions, it doesn't do that. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know why the screen's dimming. So okay, so I could have some counters. Okay, so this is where I want it to be. Okay, I think the thing I should want to sway is the angle, not the position. Point at that invisible object. So the question is where that... I mean, that's what I'm doing in math. That's sort of computing where this invisible object is. But if I did it over here and connected it, you have to literally connect it, then it... I would end up having to make another invisible object that I have to feed its position to. So I end up just doing it longer, I think, that way. Where was my head? So I have an angle that I want to shift around. So this is the goal angle of the camera. So I can say, where is the camera right now? The camera right now start at what I think is a -90. So I'm sure it's a +90 because that's just always how it works. I don't really care about limiting my angles as long as they work. So let's just say I always got -90 as my angle. God, why? Why is it rotating? I want to not get sick. That's my goal. I expect minus 90 to be the angle if this is a graph, this is 0. This down here is minus 90. I expect x to be 0 and my z, which is vertical in what I'm doing, to be minus 1. So it's always 8 below. I don't think it'd be a counter. Oh, I'm still sending that in. That's gonna really screw with it. Okay, so it's a fixed angle right now. That works. Fixed angle. And I want this to be the target angle. So I want to move toward the target angle if it isn't already there. So I want to change my variable based on the difference somehow. How much? So if this was like negative 45, it's higher. Then I want it to be... Let's just subtract them. Take this minus this. I'll get whether it's positive or negative. I don't know if I want I could make it so the camera only ever goes at a fixed speed. Man. Not having if-else statements. God, I want to move it. That's all I want to do. Okay. If this is greater than this, if this is less than this, if it's greater than it, I want a positive 1 signal. If it's less than it, I want a negative 1 signal. And then I use those to add to the current angle. So it will go up or down by 1 degree per frame, currently, to get to the target angle. And I don't have a clue why that's continuing to count, because, well, that doesn't end up changing the angle, so it's not going to a specific place. Don't trust the debugger. Or trust it greatly. Okay. I guess that depends on, like, if this starts at negative 90, but then this is like negative 900, it could end up rotating around before it figures out the right spot. Where did it flip around? Alright, well, these are the only angles that it likes. Hey, Vizo. Oh, oh, oh. Well, I mean... Now, why is it not? It's like, hold on. It's like telling an old man, no, I would like the camera to be on the other side of the ball. And he says, okay, I'm going to walk over there now. Oh, the ball's moved now. Yeah, the jitter's one thing, but no, there's a bigger problem outside of that. It's like, okay, I'll go over there now. Please don't change the direction the ball's going till I get there, because that just, it won't work out well. I don't trust the range either. So, I'm getting... Yeah, I guess that's an interesting thing with... So, 0 degrees and 360 degrees are the same. So if it's 30 degrees, what does it mean to say that 180 degrees is greater than 150 degrees? Even though, like, getting closer to the right degree is correct, there just might be a whole bunch of circles in the middle. All right. I guess I need to know the range of outputs here. Or I have to trust its angle computation. If I trust it to tell me what angles are, then I can do position, angle, and angle to position. Give me an angle, flip it around, give me an x and y, and multiply it. But then I lose this whole, like, swivel thing. Oh my god. Why a camera is the hard part. And I'm gonna focus 3 hours on the camera, and then I'll be ready to throw the project away. Alright, do I have a number thing still? You. Show me the angle. Which angle is this? The angle of the speed. Thank you for rotating. Please continue to do that. Well, sure. Yeah. Although, man, making your own engine. Like, one benefit is you don't have to figure out how someone else's engine works. Minus all the other negatives. So what number do I really want to see? But I can't have that output on multiple sides. So I want to see the angle that I would like it to... So I'm going to subtract 180 from whatever. I guess what I want to see... I'm seeing nothing right now because I unhooked it. I think the range is minus 180 to positive 180. So I need to flip that around. So if I add or subtract minus 180, and then if that number... If that number is less than minus 180, I need to add 360 to it. Cool, huh? Isn't there an angle add? There's an angle difference. I really want to make my own node on too. I want to be able to say, do all this stuff, put it in a box, and let me use that box with inputs and outputs. Anyway. I need a 360. Actually, I can reuse the minus 180. Okay. If... Kinda. If this value is less than this value, then I need to add this value. So if I take the if, so to speak, output, multiply it by 360, then I will get 360 out of here during the times I need to add it. Put on a plus just so I can use a single output signal. Yeah, exactly. And then let's ignore my rotation crap for the moment. It should only move forward. You move it just a little bit, it's okay. Okay, so that gives me an angle. That goes from minus 180 to plus 180. God, I hope so. Yeah. See, I would be fine if they had to be within your program, and you basically used something like this, and then you put the stuff inside of it. But then you could configure it to say, here's how many input and output signals I want, and then you can connect those inside of it. And then you use another version of it to duplicate its behavior somewhere else. And it would have that same number of signals. As it is, comments are garbage. But whatever. You want to put things in a box and put a label on it, it does that. It's worth something. For example, I can only make a comment this big, huh? Oh, cool. If something's really complicated, then I have to use multiple comments to describe it. Wow, I hate them so much. Look at this. Here's my camera. And then if I lock it, at least I can... What did I do? Select stuff beyond it. But then it gets in your way, too. Locking does work pretty well, though. Okay. That's the only thing a comment's good for. So, I have an angle. Where would it possibly be going to? Okay, hold on. If my number, minus 180 to plus 180, is where I'm trying to go to. If what the current angle is less than that one, then I get a positive 1 to tell the counter to count up. If the current angle is too large... Oh, but then... So yeah, so if the angle goes from 179 to minus 1, it's going to swing the long way. Oh my. I need a while loop. Why is it continuing to go? I was wanting to see if it would only encircle it at most once. Also, if it's 0, then it has nowhere it knows to try to be. What even is it doing? Yeah, so multiple levels is its own thing, because that's certainly a concern I have. If I ever get to the point where I care about how the game works, because I want to put something on the screen, and that's the only thing I'm doing this for. One option is to swap to another game. So you have each level in its own game, and then whenever someone wants to play your set, they have to download them all together, which is a little annoying. Or you'd have to maintain a variable of what level they're in and like teleport them between it and like use that variable to respawn them, and then you have to there's no respawn, so to speak. There's only teleporters. So teleporters also have to have a location and suck the thing in and dump it out somewhere. So you could have a teleporter at the beginning of each level, but in order to respawn, you'd have to like make sure like in this case, the ball is at the same place to be the input to the teleporter. So I'm picturing below the stages like a funnel that brings the ball into where the teleporter is, or at least like a floor. But I can't make an infinite floor. You see what I'm saying? Maybe like if the teleporter spanned a huge area below the floor. Yeah, it gets complicated. Let's just leave it there. It definitely looks like a Pokeball. Oh. So you can't generate objects. Just simply put, you can't generate objects. All you can do is put objects and then maybe tell them where they are. So there's connectors. My most used thing is this free slide connector. I've used it in most of the games. So you can say, from this point, tell this thing to be this distance away from it. I've done that a bunch. So there's no, simply the easiest way is there's no game logic. What you're seeing is the game logic. Spawning a bullet is its own mechanism. So you can use a launcher. You can connect it to something else just to tell it where the launcher lives. It's invisible. And it can only spawn one of these 3 things. And these are the properties of the things that it spits out every how long. So you can spawn a wall of a certain size, but it's a fixed number. Each launcher has all these properties fixed. They're not inputs. In a way, yes, but it's like, in a way, it's a good system, but it's very limited, for sure. I would definitely prefer to have multiple levels in it. So I think all of these projects come down to, I want to see what I can do, find some things that end up just being a ridiculous rabbit hole, and it's not worth it. Especially with what use I expect to get out of the thing, but just trying to... The appeal is more just challenging yourself for what you can do in it. To me. So this camera... Okay. Stop, Mr. Camera. So I have an angle. Now I need to figure out if the camera should rotate positive or negative. Yeah, it's an early tool, and it's still fairly complicated considering that. But yeah, it allows you to do a lot more than you could do in. Well, it's hard to say. It's like it's way more generic than like Mario Maker. So you have a lot more control, and with control comes, effort. But in the reverse, trying to make Mario in here, I don't believe is possible. For various reasons of complexity. Like, you can make something that kind of looks like Mario. It even very much can look like Mario, with, like, sprite textures only showing them at certain times, and all of that. Like, I saw one yesterday that was pretty good at that. Had Mario's running animation, even. I didn't look at exactly how that was working, but I assume there was, like, just a timer that showed one of the different 3 frames every third of a second kind of thing. Yeah, the node on limit always has concerned me, but I haven't hit it yet. I've probably been over half even at my proof of concept kind of things. Making functions would go towards solving a bit of that node on limit because I repeat things quite a bit. Yeah, Mario Maker is definitely more geared to, like, here's why you shouldn't box a player in with invisible blocks. This makes a bad game experience. Definitely not how to then make that work. What am I doing? Okay. I have a range from minus 180 to 180. I have another range from minus 180 to 180. I can't just compare them. I mean, a function is a basic programming concept, so it definitely really irritates me that I can't do it. As someone who's written a single line of code ever. It's like programming book. Open page 1. Hello world. Which is in a function, but ignore that. Page 2. Here's how you add numbers together. Page 3. Here's how you do that more than once and not copy your code. I need to know if it's a greater distance to go around the circle one way or the other way. Me writing on paper doesn't translate very well to a stream. Not that I've written much. I still am pretty much thinking in examples. How do I tell if I have 2 angles and I want to get to the other angle by going one direction only? So by adding to one angle. What is the difference? How far does it have to go before it reaches an equivalent angle, which may be off by 360? And I do that in this language. So if I just make my starting one 0 for the sake of sanity, solve a simpler problem. 0 to 120 by going positive is 120. 0 to 120 by going negative is 240. But why? So by going positive, I take target minus source. Plus 360 if needed. If by going negative, is it source minus target plus 360 if needed? Source 0 minus target 120 gives me the minus 120 plus 360 is the 240. I think that's the formula. So if I ignore my plus, there's a few I haven't used, yeah. Somewhere in the tutorial, I guess technically do you call those if I've used them or not? Like the firework display marker thing. So one of them will be a negative number, the other one will not be a negative number. Does that matter? I was wanting to say if it's negative, then I know I'm going to get a bigger number, but that's not true if it's negative 350. Yeah, Nestmaker looked... I didn't really see anything about the guts of how that worked. I was kind of curious. Writing this math, though. I don't like it. Okay. So I have an angle. I have target angle. Guess I can leave them in place. Yeah, and what if the angle... Then there's the jitteriness. If target angle... Guess what is it? It's got to be a... I got to be able to do this in a single formula without a two formula and compare. I want... I want a signed difference. Better if it had functions. Well, I guess basic didn't have functions, but it had subroutines. Didn't it? I mean, I definitely remember writing basic code with go-tos. You could have emulated a function, I guess. Worst case, but I can't remember. I honestly can't remember, because that was a long time ago. I mean, all you have to do is set up some global variables as your little function parameter registers. You write go-to, and then only ever call the function from one place, unless if one variable is where to jump back, and then you pass in where to jump back to the... Never mind. So I want to take a moment to reflect on what I'm doing to try to accomplish something in this game. Holy crap. Okay. Target minus source. gives me the difference in the angle plus or minus. Wait a second. Give me a number. Tell me. Tell me a number. That is not what I'm clicking on. Okay, so I do get the plus or minus here still. But then this... No. This is 390. So I get the minus 10. So this does the looping for me, and I get the plus or the minus. So what I can do is, if the camera range is like plus or minus 5 degrees from the target, then don't move it. Kind of what I was thinking here. And then if it's beyond that, up to the 180, then change it. So okay, this is my target angle minus the current angle. There's a few. That's square root, which kind of shocks me. I did it with... I made a speed I used it for. I like seeing the little plus. Okay, so... I only want to change the angle if it's at least 5. For sure, YouTube. Yeah, I mean, you can do either. If I do this, this gives me a signal I can use to multiply into something to zero out if I don't want to move it. So if it's 20, then I want the camera to move plus. I guess it doesn't matter what this number is as far as minus 180 to 180 or whatever if I'm using it to rotate the correct direction, which this seems to solve. So I want to, I think, just multiply okay, so I get, if I wanted to move, And now I'm doing, which way do I want it to move? Hey, no, this. So which way do I want it to move? I want to translate a number into a +1 or a -1. Greater than 0 gives me the +1. So I kind of did this before, and then less than 0 gives me a 1 that I can invert to get the -1 and add those together. I'm just wondering a better way to do that. So there is this digitize, but it's more like a floor function. It only deals with decimal values. So I'd have to like map it into a weird range that works with it and map it out, which is awful. Maybe. Never mind. Trigger from 0 takes a signal that and will only output 1 if the input signal just changed from 0 to 1. It'll be 1 for that frame, and then while the input's still 1, it'll be 0. So it turns a button hold into a button press. Exactly. So I used 1, but it says from 0, so if it went from 0 to -1, then it would go to 0 to 1, and while that still was -1, it would be 1. I don't like, I hate half of what I'm thinking about is where are these located on the screen. If this is greater than 0, give me a 1. If this is less than 0, give me a -1. That's the direction it should move. Now, I should only use these two added together if I want to move it. If the angle's different by at least 0.5. This is the amount I want to add to the angle. So this currently makes the camera only move at a very specific speed, which doesn't quite work how I would want it to, but it is doing what I told it to do. So I did solve the problem. Now it's just if I like what I did. But at least it did it. And it does at least adjust in the middle of it, for sure. Probably. So right now I'm killing the difference and going to +1 or -1. So I could just take the difference and maybe lower it. Instead of +or -1, I could just divide it by 30 or something. That would rip all of this out. I'm just gonna pick 15. So if it's 60 degrees off, it'll go to it 4 degrees per frame. But of course, that's not constant, and it'll slow down as it gets toward the right one, so that may feel weird then, and it'll never end up behind it. Hey. That's way better than I thought it was going to be. Turning around is pretty funky, because if you keep holding down, it ain't going to work for you. And it depends on which way it spins the camera, which kind of depends on barely which way you're holding the back of the joystick. I feel kind of okay with that. Okay. Now it almost feels like I'm moving the camera with left or right more than moving the ball, which is not quite what I wanted. Let's just make it a little lower. I want it to move slower. It actually does feel like I move straight, which surprises me. Well, dividing is sort of a percentage. Trying to think what I would want different about this right now. Mainly, how good does it feel like curving while going mostly forward and probably doing like right angles? At the moment, probably is about right. I'm like looking at lines I'm trying to follow. Ooh. Okay, it's workable. Look at that comment I got there. That's gonna save everything. I am kind of anti-comments in real code too. Well, I'm not. Okay, it's complicated. It's a complicated thing. The first thought when you write a comment is, should you have just named a function better and put that stuff in a function? But no, it's complicated. All right, so I know where the camera is. Isn't that great? Now, can I put this sign on the screen where the camera is? The camera is at... Oh, no. Okay. I need a wall to put text on. I need this wall to be in front of the camera. I can't touch it to the camera. But I know the camera is here. Right? Can't. So the camera is all this crap added together. Sweet. pointing to the ball at an angle. Going good places. I want to take the point the camera is at. In front of it, put a wall. Pretty much stop there. That's in front of it. So where the camera currently at, it's facing the ball. That is forward. Now, it's a distance from the ball, but I'm going to choose a different distance to put the wall. And then stuff could be attached to the wall, or whatever this thing is. It could just be a reference anchor point. Like I could have a very small box, and then maybe just attach some invisible stuff to that to put some stuff along the bottom of the screen, along the top of the screen. Yeah, I wish you could spawn things. Trying to attach logic to things you spawn, I think, is complicated, because right now all of your logic really only works on one thing, and if you want to do the same logic on a second thing, you have to recreate that entire structure. It's very similar to the function thing. But this doesn't know anything about classes and objects and sharing functionality. It has, like, I want like, when a box is destroyed, send a signal. It's like the closest concept I can come up with. Yeah. Yeah. Object is not the same kind of thing. Anyway, where does this live? So I can position this on the screen by saying it's some distance away from the origin, let's say, and angled up toward the camera. Now, there could be all of these, but I know that the camera is only pointing down in Y. Or I guess I don't know if it's X or Z rotation to angle up, because it's probably both, so that's terrible. How's this work? Yes, you have to put the logic on every Goomba. I mean, essentially, like, you can have, like, every Goomba, let's say, has a tuna attached to it, or every Goomba is a cylinder, or, you know, it's a thing, and you could say, put a touch sensor on Mario to act on tunas. But then how do you know, or like to destroy tunas, and then you can do that. That makes so much sense, doesn't it? I feel like this might be... I want a bar connected to the camera. So the camera could be a hidden reference object. This object determined by the distance from the origin, which you can only reuse 8 times, which is fantastic. So this is where I want the camera to be. Where I want the camera to be is the same inputs as I gave to it. I want C sub X, C sub Y. More than one viewport? No. You could have multiple calculations that go to these things like I just did and have a switch for which one to use, I guess. No is the easy answer. Because I barely remember seeing Labo have an engine similar to this. So that is the this box should be where the camera is. It's hooked to origin. Plus these numbers that I just reused on a thing that's hooked to origin, moved the same amount. I would expect the camera to be inside of this box. What's wrong about it? Clearly moving the box. Like the opposite direction as the camera. Can't believe I'm still trying to do this. I want a box where the camera is. That's all I want. I told the camera where it is. Oh, I'm missing Z. Guess that's one thing, but... Am I under it or in it? I think I'm under it. Up there. So, if all of these are on, this position doesn't matter at all. Its positions in those directions will get overridden with its input added to what it's connected to, which is 0, 0, 0. This box won't rotate, I will say. But all I care is that its center is where the camera is. But I see it up there. Why do I see it up there? I think I also don't want the camera to spin if it's still going slow. Is that ridiculous? That's ridiculous. But I could do another thing like this. Where's this box? Oh, that's not helping. I want the center of the box to be in the camera. I can't see it. So I think it was above it because of the connection point. That gets me a lot. So it's up there. I expect it to be covering the camera. I expect the camera to be in the box, but it just may not be rendering it. Yes, I'm trying to build a UI. So I'm trying to connect, I'm trying to use that box as a hidden reference point to connect things to it. So my goal was to say, like, somehow connect things to there, like a distance in front of the camera. Yeah, and figuring out what side the front of the camera is part of it. Yeah, because it might be working and I just can't tell. So let's say it is. I have a dot where the camera is. Because I can't connect something to the camera. That's the only reason that exists. So now the camera is pointing to the ball. And that gives me an angle similar to this, but with a location? I'm early. Oh, this definitely shouldn't have to be done. But if you build your UI just on the stage, then it solves the problem. But that doesn't work for me. What am I doing? Do I have X, Y, and Z? I do have X, Y, Z. I'm going to use 400 nodons trying to put a X on the screen as a UI. I probably don't care about Y. I don't know if I can use this or not. I want to connect this kind of toward it, but I want it to also face a certain way is important. If you disable the string solid property, the two objects will still be able to physically interact with each other. I do not want that. But I do not want the string to be solid and interact with anything else either, so ha. It's set to be above it, so it'll go down with it. What is this right now? Not that. Okay, string is not, even though it's perfectly stiff, is very much not doing what I think it should do. Why is it still moving? Oh boy. Okay. Okay. All right. So I need... So what I would picture is connecting another reference anchor point to my camera one that is calculated to be away from it. And then I have to hinge connect that point to this, so this rotates toward the camera. That's how I'm picturing solving this problem. Cool, huh? So... Sure is. Sure feels like it. So... I have where the camera is. I have where the ball is. So this is where the camera is. So I want where the ball is to be the positive one, I think. Ignore Y, please. So if the ball is to the right and up, I get a 45. Positive. Now I have to determine how far away. It's like I need the direction, but I gotta put it on the unit circle. And then multiply it to ensure a distance away. Sound, that is. That pulls it, takes the ball coordinate, pulls it into being 1 away, which may be enough. So this is the distance from the camera. What? Anchor this to the camera. How about Y yet? Connected on Y. Or I want Y to be where the ball is, which is a negative, the offset it was before. But right now it's the same height as the camera in my mind of this thing I shouldn't be able to see. Yeah, definitely after I do all of this, it'll just absolutely work. So anchor that, anchor this to that, and I want to rotate it to face the camera. So I just placed it this distance away from the camera. Good God. So whatever that distance is, I feel like I could have just like probably used this, but this could get multiplied or something, and it makes sense just to do this. Rotate it. So this angle is this 45 degrees, and I would want this, which by default should be probably on 0. So right now it's facing Y plus, and I want it to face X plus. You remember when putting a UI was just how many apples are remaining in this box? That was nice. This box that didn't move. This is assuming it's 1 meter in front of the camera. So glad that seems to be wrong. Okay, well, if that's wrong, never mind anything else. 1 meter in front of the camera. Connected to the camera. It's connected. To the camera. And this distance away. Subtract ball X from camera X. Use that as my X for determining an angle. So if it's forward in Z and forward in X, I'll get a 0 to 90 angle. Convert that into X and Z again. X. I'll get some number for both between 0 and 1. Or -1 if it's on the other side. But that should be toward the ball. Because I drew a picture. The picture says it should be toward the ball. So there's a game screen, but you can't attach stuff. You can't attach stuff to the camera or game screen. And I'm not going to be able to put it on here now. Yeah, you can't attach stuff to it. You can't attach stuff to either, no matter which camera system you're using. Oh, so its Y is loose. So that means it'll fall. Maybe. That should stop that. So that... seems kind of in front of the camera. So this is the Y of the ball. But this is connected to the camera. I don't want it... yeah, that'll double its position. So I have a Y that is the camera's offset above. So that's connected to the origin. So this is the camera's Y. But I want it to go... I guess I want 0 for this moment. Or like a -2 or something. Okay. That's probably right. Oh my god. So this jitteriness is also a different problem too. If I stop rotating, seems to be in the right place. And it's just the angle. I can't control that jitteriness, unfortunately. That just has to do with how things connect together. Okay, it seems like it's doing the trick. I don't know why it's so tall. That's yellow, isn't it? Like freaking me out. But it was twice as tall. Then... Movable. Fortunately, everything has to be movable except origin. That's my panel. Okay. But if I make it movable, then I guess I could do no gravity for the moment. What? Right. So this doesn't matter until connected. Excuse me. Floating away. All these connections. I mean, I don't want it to do gravity. We could do it. The rotation angle. It only rotate in Y. If I deselect the others, I guess it's free? Well, it can only have one. So in this view, it's a long box. I take the axis of rotation being Y, which is this point going through it, and then spin it across that. Then there's a whole the camera's pointing down thing, but that would be next. Wow. So much of this has worked. Has ended up working. Where even is it? Part of what's bothering me is I don't really understand where it is. That yellow box should be in it. Are you kidding me? There it is. Why is it accelerating? Trying to get it to fly back over here. I have no idea if I was influencing it or not. Should be. Well, the yellow box flew away. Watching it slow down. Is this another, the angle of rotation is like off by a multiple of 360? Plus, why is it rotating Hi there. So it is rotating along its Y. Yellow box. What are you doing? It's like it goes off to orbit. Jesus Christ, what is it doing? Where is it going? It should always be within a meter of the camera. Of course, without things connect together. I mean, no. Why is it rotating? To make the camera a visible orange box. I pretty much shouldn't see it ever, though. But the yellow box should stay near it. Wow. There is one assumption with me doing this, is that these connections are rigid, which they aren't exactly rigid. Like if you say slide it to something, it'll try to move it to there. But that's just it. It moves it to there. It doesn't say it is there. Which generally that's very similar. This allows it to spin, but it should spin in relationship to this, which I don't think should spin. And I don't think I saw the yellow box spinning. I don't think this is going to happen. Well, the ball camera seems okay. It did something. That makes... What that's doing makes no sense to me. So I just don't even know how to go about fixing it. Okay. We get no UI. That's what this comes down to. Super. I want to drag select. How do I do that again? Pressing Z, R, and A, and the stick. Okay, why is it sometimes... What's it doing now? Z, R, A, stick. Z, R, A, stick. Okay. Gotta move it a little bit. So a goal, huh? I guess the timer can be on the goal. You know where it is anyway. I need a drink. None of this is cold anymore. Alright, well. So I want to make a goal. It's not going to look like what the monkey ball goal looks like. It can have a ball on it. That's rather important and stupid. But it's supposed to like explode into confetti. Okay, so there's a gate that you can bounce off of. It's some sort of start to it. What? A little wider, I guess, is good. Or the ball a little smaller. Short. That's the center. So I want to see if I can see it. Doesn't go through it. My stupid yellow box still visible. So then there's a tape that's either just like location sensor or like something actual visible. Probably like something actual visible that says the word goal on it, of course. Can't pick multiple. Oh, okay. Okay. Not bad. Could try to put a timer above it. Flip this. Obstacles. Guess I could. Well, camera starts. Let's say 0. What? How's it determine to spin over to there? It probably does need to be wider. Now it's one thing I can move. I can't connect something like above it. Wish I could like rotate the view around too. Um, I guess. show the timer. Oh, per frame. Can't use an actual timer object because that's not what those mean. I want it to count down by 1 frame and now convert it and then convert it to seconds. So 60 frames a second. I want to count down by well 1/60, which is not a whole number. Okay, so I think I did something like number of frames left. This can only go to 1,000. I think that's probably good for my use. Oh, good for my use. That's only 10 seconds. I don't want to round this number. Okay. So then number of 100 frames left. So this is like 1.5 seconds. Oh. Strange. Number of frames left would be 60 times 60. So I guess this doesn't fit. But then if I like make it a different number, then I gotta multiply the output too. It's another mess. So I did this in the off-road game with how high did it go? Okay. If the game is running, count how many frames have elapsed. That went to multiple minutes. Divide by 60, divide by 60, do some funky math. For minutes and seconds. But that was counting up. So, do I not have a 1000 limit? Counting up? IU3? 15. Wait. Go down. No. What's it doing? That took a while. It does stop at 1000. Wow. I think a timer would be easy. So I could have this fire every 0.1 seconds. I'll assume that's not like gonna be off. Start at 60. So always, which will later be while the game's running, every 0.1 seconds count that down by 1 currently. But I want to count down by 0.1. Wow, I didn't know the signals actually visually showed if they were on or off in here. What hell number is that? And that's purely the number I want to show. Now I should have a beep every full second. Those important things. Pretty annoying normally anyway. What even is that sound? I forget that. I could do the ready go and going in the goal. Just gonna use the regular countdown thing. At least give not gonna have the rotating stage view. That ain't gonna happen. We just say after 2 seconds when the game is running. I only want this to count down if the game is running. Easy enough change there. Okay. And the stick should only count if the game is running. Can't move it. Now I can move it. Play an instrument. Is that really the same thing? It's the same thing. Okay. They just wanted every one of these note on selection menus to be 3 deep. You what? Okay. Oh, well, I don't have a good go sound. Eh. Don't like any of it. Not the worst. Oh man. Something. Countdown's probably better. Because at least then you know what's going on. That is 3 seconds long. And kind of loud, though. Okay. I think Rivalry's been a good one. What does this remind me of? Something in Mario. Yeah, I want to hear myself. Really? That's gotta be sarcasm. Something is happening. Yeah. Sort of works. Alright, so then I'm gonna go through the goal. I could let you destroy the goal. Guess. I'm not gonna want that every time. That didn't destroy it. Come here, ball. Wow. Is it a box? So, number text object is not one of the choices in there. Okay. Get destroy then. Great that that works and all, but where's the sound? No, because I just did the flag. Okay. When the goal is hit, oh, thank you. Then the game is not running, for one. And I should lose my control at that point, which I do think is happening. And the ball flies away! Right. That's a different flag, though. There's before the game starts, and then there's after the game is won. Those are different. The game is won. Means the game is not running. If the game is won, then add the game is won to the Y speed to let it float upward. That's amazing for that little effort. Play something happy. Woohoo. Wonderful. Yay. Dead silent. Okay. Does something. Which, wow. Ball flying up, I think, is pretty special. Yeah. It just goes. I mean, that's about what I would want. Oops. Okay. So then, what else are we to it? I guess on 0. So where is the timer? You. Right now it just goes down and it just stops and you're fine. Yay. So if the counter is ever 0, That's a 0.1. Oh, that's much easier to read, thank you. Then the game is lost. When the game is lost, the game is not running. Fantastic. Wow. I guess. Okay. So that works. Guess I'd be actually making a level, it'd be fun. I don't know if I have that in me anymore. Then I made one level. Could it possibly be more than one level? And if you fail on level 2, I'd want you to restart on level 2. So certainly I could just have a bunch of copies of this game, swap it to another game, and restart. We'll just restart the same game, the current game. Yeah, you just teleport up. So I could have teleport entrances attached to the moving ball. God, how much is attached to the moving ball right now? There's a limit of 8. I'm already at 7. That's ridiculous. But I could attach something else that's hidden to the middle of the ball and attach 8 things to it. Yeah. Workarounds. So I could put a teleporter on the ball and like drop the ball off at the entrances. I would have to program each goal separately, which is probably fine. I don't know if I'd probably have to duplicate the whole timer so each level would have its own timer and start flags. Maybe. But I think I need a break at this point. I didn't even pick a level that I would try to recreate, but like the first one that would come to mind would be like pretty much it's like going downhill one. It's just like a big Z. It's vertical. Pretty simple early level. Sure is. Is this thing even doing anything? This is, what is this? I don't think that's, I think that's waste right now. 94. That's amazing, actually. Start of game. Beginning and end of game. Please draw a box. I'm pressing the right buttons, but some reason if I go down and to the left, it works, and if I go down and to the right, it doesn't work. Timer. Wait. Puts the timer on top of the goal. Timer should be solid. I actually don't want it to be movable with the slide connector. No, I guess it's fine. Alright, well, this was probably friggin' 2 hours of it. He selects part of a group. Worked then. I can draw up. It's got to be something with the order I'm hitting the buttons. It's ZR, then A, and then direction. For some reason, when I want to go different ways, I'm apparently hitting them a little quicker. If I hit A first, it ignores that I'm... If I hit A first and then ZR, it ignores that I hit both buttons. So that feels like a bug. Like, why can't I just press both before I move the stick? But I guess it's hard to not move the stick. Alright, well, maybe I'll make a level out of this. Okay, I can't call it that. Super non-monkey ball. Working is questionable. I mean, the stage starting and going in the goal works. Then there'd be actually making a stage. And then if I wanted to have multiple stages connected, probably wouldn't do it. Alright, well. That'll do it for me for this. For now. See you later. Maybe shortly later.